Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is The Joy of Mixing. My name is Ken Hertz, and as promised, today we are going to be mixing the bass guitar. This is episode 3 of my mixing series. We are mixing the song Elizabeth and Me, and we're mixing entirely in the box. There is no outside gear here. One thing I want to point out before we get started is if we come down to my mix bus here, I am using SonarWorks on my mix bus, and I recommend highly. If you don't have SonarWorks, I recommend that you check it out. It'll be great. It'll help you out a lot with your mix. It'll flatten out the EQ. You know, headphones tend to color the signal a certain way. These Beyerdynamic DT 770s that I have, I know they hype up the high end, and so what this SonarWorks does is it just flattens out the signal, makes it real transparent for your mix to come across different setups. So, having said that, let's go ahead. Let's close this out. Let's come back up to the bass. And with this bass guitar here, with this track, I'll show you. We recorded it with this Squier Jaguar bass right behind me here. That was the instrument used to record this track. So let's go ahead, let's just listen in to what this bass is doing, and then we will go ahead and mix this. Okay, so yeah, you can hear a little bit of string squeak in there, and the bass. When you record the bass, sometimes you'll hit certain notes that tend to be louder than other notes. Some notes might fret out, and so you have a very dynamic range in your recording. So what we're going to do here, the goal for today is to just even this bass tone out, and we really want to get a nice, even, solid low end. It really, what makes a mix stand out is a really detailed low end that's solid, and you can hear it from beginning to end, and that's really what we want to go for here. So what we're going to do is we have our track here. We're going to go ahead and throw on search for an EQ, and we're going to reach for, yep, you guessed it, our good friend, the Pro Q3. And so what we want to do here is let's come in here and let us low pass. So what we're going to do is bring this down to about 200, and we're just going to low pass. That's all we're doing here, just allowing the low end to come through. We don't want anything else on this DI track. So now let's listen to this with the low pass filter on. Okay, so just a low end there. That's all we're looking for. Now we also want to put a compressor on this track, and for that, let's just try something here. Let's reach for our bass from Waves. Let's bring this guy in here, and what we're gonna do, we have it set at 80. Default's at 80, which is great. That's exactly what I want. Let me just play this, and we're gonna have to maybe mess with the intensity a little bit. Yeah, so you can see the R bass there is evening out that tone, that low end, which is exactly what we're looking for. So now we have that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this track and we are simply going to duplicate it completely. We have the same track, we have the same plugins. However, what we're going to do is we're going to take our bass off of this track. And now what we're going to do is let's go to, you know what, let's remove this as well. Again, this is our copied bass. We just bought the entire thing, just copied it over. Let's go to insert here. Let's go back to the old Pro Q3. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite. So we low passed on our DI, and now we are going to, oops. Now we are going to come in here and we're going to high pass. Just allowing everything above 200 hertz to come through. I should mention that this is this bass mixing trick is something that I learned from Warren Huart, which if you are not familiar with Produce Like a Pro, I mean, you're going to hear me say Warren's name a lot in this series because I learned quite a bit from watching Warren, and so I just want to throw that out there. If you're not a member of Produce Like a Pro, go check them out. Okay, so now let's, we've high passed here. Now let's listen to this high passed bass along with the low pass bass. So you can see how you have complete control over the low end. You have this DI, and in fact, I'm going to come in here and just label this DI. You have this DI with the low end, and you have complete control over it, which, you know, gives you just so many possibilities. You can really tailor this sound to your track, which is great. So we have our low end, we have our high end. We will also want to, while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and throw on, let's grab our good friend, you know him well, or at least you know a version of him well, the 1176. And so what we have here, and again, if you don't have Universal Audio's 1176 plugin, you may have the real deal, you may have a version of this. You can do these things. So let's just quickly check out the preset here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the bass limiter. We're not trying to crush the signal by any means. Well, all we want to do really is just try and get a nice evened out waveform. So let's go ahead. Let's play just now the high end, and we will see if we can get this to kind of sound even. Okay, so I had to, I didn't like, I thought the ratio of 20 was just kind of too much. It was a little bit overboard, so I dropped it down to 8. We have our attack, it's fast, but we backed off a little bit. Release is slow, which is, slow enough for an 1176, which is what we're looking for. So now let's take our DI and our copied and let's listen to those. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take our copy here and we're just going to go ahead. We're going to duplicate the whole thing, bring the whole thing over here. And now what we want to do is we're going to leave the compressor on there. We're going to leave the EQ on there. But really what we want to do here, and I'll just go ahead and name this quick, is we're going to put a little amp simulation on this to give our bass some saturation, kind of help glue things together. So let's go in here. And I'm going to be using the Ampeg for this particular bass. Any kind of saturation plugin will work. I know SansAmp is a good one if you're a Pro Tools user. Any sort of saturation, you know, we just kind of want to just dirty this up a little bit. And you'll see that when you dirty it up and blend it in, you really will get a nice tone out of this. Let's go to presets here quick. And I'm going to pick driven bass. Let's go ahead and hear exactly what this Ampeg is doing to our signal here. Yeah, we want that driven sound. But now what we're going to do is I'm going to play this back and I'm going to go ahead and blend in my driven bass with our high end of the bass as well as with the low end of the bass. Just so you can see how you can really blend these things in to kind of get the sound that you're looking for. And then we'll go ahead and throw it in the track as well. So let me go ahead and solo these out and I'll mess around with the faders and we'll try to get a nice little even sort of bass sound here. Beside her, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. She says I'm scared of something, so don't ever let me go. And I'm afraid of falling, so we'll have to take it slow. But I don't know her now. Okay, so now you might be thinking to yourself, hey, you know, we got a pretty good sound here. You know, what more can we do? And well, hold on to your socks because we're not quite done just yet. What we're going to do now is let's take our bass amp. Well, let's go in here and add a bus. It's going to be a mono bus. We're going to call it, yep, you got it right. We're going to call it bass bus. We're not going to do any summing on this particular bus. Let's hit OK. Now we have our bass bus here. So now we'll have to send these three signals to this bass bus. So I'm going to be doing that off screen here real quick. Now I should be able to go ahead and solo the bass bus, and we will listen back to this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, let's throw on an EQ to this bass bus. I'm going to just keep going right on back to Pro Q3. Here it is. And let's see here. We could go in, and I do like presets. Let's just try out some presets here just to see what we might be able to come up with. Let's try bass guitar tonal control. Let's give this a shot and just see what this sounds like. I'm just gonna put on the bass solo. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and go in here and do the EQ moves myself. So let's go back. Because really I'm not trying to do a whole lot of EQing here. All I really want to do is just come in here. You know, we're gonna take off right about 80 hertz. We'll come in, do a little boost here around 80. I usually like to come in around 1,900, anywhere in this little range, and I'll play with this, but basically to just kind of get some nose out of the bass. We are getting a good bit of nose out of the bass already, especially with this bass amp track that we put on here, but let me just play this and play around a little bit and see if we can just kind of enhance this a little bit more. Okay, so now what we're going to do is let's put this in the mix and see what we have. Quietly, she gets up to walk away. Yeah, she abandons me. She didn't think I heard her as she got up to walk away. She says you never listen to a word I have to say, but I don't even know her now. other side, or there's nowhere else I'd rather be. She says I'm scared of... So it's going to take a little bit of automation, I think, once we get to the final stages here. It gets kind of loud in the chorus and it kind of gets quiet in the verse, so we'll have to adjust accordingly. But I really do like the sound here. I think we got what we were aiming for. I want to go ahead and just listen to the bass as well as the drum track. And let's, you know what, before we wrap this up, let's go in here. I'm all about, trying things and seeing, hey, does this work? Will this work? We don't know unless we try it, right? So let's go ahead. I'm going to put this back on bass limiter. I'm going to leave it as it is, and I just want to hear the entire mix with our bass bus coming through the 1176. Quietly, she gets up to walk away. Yeah, she abandons me. She didn't think I heard her as she got up to walk away. She says you never listen to a word I have to say, but I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. Elizabeth and me. Yeah, I really do. I like with what the 1176 is doing here. Just kind of wanted to hear a little bit more of the transient, which I feel like I got out of this plugin here. So with that, that's pretty much it. This is the mixing bass trick. This is how I mix bass. Pretty much every time. I might do some things differently, but overall, I get my DI, which just has the low end. I copy that with just the high end. Might bring in an amp sound, and then really it's just a matter of mixing those sounds together to really get the bass tone that you're looking for, which I feel like we got here. So if you have any questions about this process, please let me know. Any comments, please leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed, please do hit the notification bell. And yeah, like this. If you did like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And until next time, folks, happy mixing. See you later.